Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Thursday, March 11th, 2021. We are in the final hour of the trading day, and what a day it is. As you know, the final hour of the day is my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. During the day, you have the day traders and the algorithms. They are the ones that are control the price, moving things around. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in, they take control of the price. They're dealing with the most money and they can bully the algorithms and the day traders around. I consider following what they do at the end of the day smart money. So thank you all for coming today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you are all doing well out there. Nice big day up on the market. Currently, the Dow Jones is up 238 points, up 0.74%. The Nasdaq's having a monster day, up 330 points, up 2.52%, and the S&P is up 46 points, up 1.2%. So here is the plan for today. First of all, we are going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my two positions, my two swing trade positions that I have. Talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage them going forward. After that, I did have a couple day trades today that I will share with you. After that, we're going to go over to the board. Any of my current or past students are welcome to put their trades up on the board, and I'm looking over there and everything looks green except for one. There's always got to be one, right? I don't know why, but it looks like everybody's having a really good day, so I'm glad to see that. After that, we are going to talk about trader psychology, spend a few minutes there, talk about the importance of staying calm, being centered, not elevating your emotions, staying in that right perfect zone so that you can make good decisions and follow your plan. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have gone down through the results of Kamal Scanner. I do have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a new trade. The first requirement is that I need to have a confluence or a combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames. That's number 1. Number 2, I need to have a good risk to reward ratio. I need to be able to make at least 2 times to the upside what I am risking to the downside. And then number 3, always important, take a few minutes every day before, or a few seconds at least, before you hit that buy button. Make sure it's a good trade. You know exactly how many shares you're supposed to buy based upon volatility. You know where your emergency stops are. You know where your end of day stops are. It's a clean trade, and also keep in mind, you don't want to have too many correlated positions. It's great if it goes up, but if it goes down, then you're going to get hurt 2, 3, 4 times if you have 2, 3, or 4 type of stocks in that industry. I do have some possible end of day candidates today. I am going to go through those towards the end of the day, look at each one, analyze the time frames, analyze the indicators, analyze the risk to reward, and I'll go through them all with a fine-tooth comb, and hopefully before the market closes, I will decide on which one I think is best, everything considered. And if I do find something like that, I will go ahead and buy it before the market closes. After the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you need any clarification on anything, please let me know. I'm happy to answer and help you out with that. If there are any stock symbols that you would like me to look at, please let me know. Put them in the chat, put an asterisk or emoji by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my very best to get to it before the close of the market. And then lastly, if any of my students have any new entries or exits that are up on the board, if you could wait till after the market is closed so that I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, pressure's off, and then we'll spend as much time as we need to get those all taken care of. Okay, so all right, hang tight. I'm going to run that U.S. legal disclaimer and I will be back. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okay, well, let's check and see who is here today. Lava74 is here in first place, as usual. Good to see you, Lava. Kamal is here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Good chatting with you today, and thank you, as always, for everything that you do for this channel with your contributions and your scanners. Thank you so much. Johnson is here. Hi, Greg and all. Good to see you, Johnson. Lilia is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lilia. Good to see you. Gary is here. Hello, Greg and group. Good to see you, Gary. Johnson says, looks like the tech stocks NDX have stagnated at 13,400 for the last 2 hours. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that we just kind of maxed out and everything kind of, let's see. Well, let's look at it. Well, I guess we won't look at it that way, but yes, they have. And good to see you, Johnson. Steve Burns is here. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. I know you're having a good trading day, and we're going to show Steve's trades here in a little while, but always appreciate you being here, Steve. Always an honor and a privilege to have you. And Steve says, hello, everyone. I am liking my SCCO copper and S&P 500 leverage trades so far. They are doing fantastic, and I'm going to show those in a minute. Good job. Gary wants to look at Shopify. Well, it is a V2. Kamal and I were trading, looking at this earlier. Kamal has had a beautiful day today, up 5.72%. It is a higher low V2 with the close back over the 100-day moving average and over the 5 EMA. Throw a little cherry on top there. So, interesting for sure. This could be a possibility. I would probably use a close below halfway the washout bar of yesterday's washout bar if I were to get involved in this. But Kamal is already up 5.68%. Outstanding, Kamal. Frank is here. Hi, Greg and group. Good to see you, Frank. Hope you're doing well. Lova says, I think I might have 3 potential candidates. ESTC. Having a little issue today, everybody, with these charts again here. I have my backup ET or ESTC. Rejected the 30 for 3 consecutive days, is staying above the 200. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Excellent, good risk to reward ratio. I like it. PSNL. Also a good risk to reward ratio. Above the 200-day. And MP. Looks like a Steve Burns 520. Yes, it has a 520 cross right over here. Oh, the 520 IPO and RSI broke through 50 and weekly is in an uptrend. Excellent. Very, very good. You're getting really good at identifying those, Leva. Very nice. I'm proud of you. Steve says DT 520 crossover today. I think I saw that. Let's see. Yes, definitely. 1.1 million shares traded. Took out this high. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. 520 crossover on this one does back test well. Frank has a poem. Let's take a look. Paste this on in here. All right. The market can lure with temptation, dangling stocks that move without hesitation. Come on, come all. It's the latest sensation, but what good is trading on pure speculation? So good. So good, Frank. As always, let's do it one more time. The market can lure with temptation, dangling stocks that move without hesitation. Come on, come all. It's the latest sensation, but what good is trading on pure speculation? Fantastic. Love that, Frank. Thank you so much. Steve says, Facebook has a 520 EMA crossover today, but has already ran a long way after chopping around the 50. Yeah, it had some issues with the 50. Yeah, that one's pretty extended. No doubt about it. That is pretty extended, up 3.61% today. Wow. But yes, here's the 520 cross. MACD is positive. We're at 57.63 RSI. We have had some selling near the top. We have rejected this previous high over here. So technically at the moment, this is a false breakout to the upside and reversal back down. But yeah, I agree. It's a little chasey. Kamal says, nice one, Lova, with ESTC. I agree. Yuvar is here. Good to see you, Yuvar. Hope you are doing well. David is here. Good to see you, David. Hope you're having a good day. Johnson said the poem is 5-star infinity. Awesome, Frank. I agree. All of Frank's poems are like 5-star infinity. Fantastic. All right, let's get started. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do at the end of the day. I only had a couple positions here, swing trading. Gary and I did buy Merck back here at 72.08. We had a double bottom with a bullish divergence, meaning the price went down, and we made a low, and then we made a lower low. But the first low had deeper MACD bars than the lower low. The lower low had shallow MACD bars, indicating that we may be running out of selling momentum. And the implication is it might bounce, and that's exactly what it did. I did buy this because we had a double bottom with the bullish divergence, but I also need a trigger. The trigger was we went under 30, over 30. I bought it 72.08. Same with Gary. It has moved up nicely. 2 strong days up. I sold half here because it rejected the 50 RSI. Last couple days, I have hit profit targets before it's turned down. I think one yesterday before it turned down, and I did hit another one today at 75.30 before it turned down. So it's having some issues up here at this one ATR channel. I am in trailing stop mode, meaning that it did move more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry. I'm just waiting for a close below the previous day's low, and that will be my exit signal to lock in profits. Was up nice earlier, now it's down 3 cents. The SPY. Okay, as you all know, I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning at the open. And boy, the last few days have been fantastic. Bought here, sold here. Bought here, sold here. Bought here yesterday at 389.58. Sold at the open at 392.24. So 3 really great days on the overnight SPY trade. I will be getting in this today at the close and selling first thing again tomorrow morning. All right, Apple. I did have 2 day trades today to the short side. There wasn't much to do. I didn't see a lot of signals to the upside because everything was so extended. I did short Apple here. We came into the value zone. There was no sideways motion. We just came down and went right back up, followed by a V1 to the downside. I shorted here at 122.28. Next bar had a big down move. I covered half at 122.09. It consolidated, had another big thrust down. I covered at 121.71. And then I had a big reversal bar here that got me out of the rest. I had to cover way up here. But I shorted at 122.28, covered at 122.12, covered at 122.09, and covered at 121.77. All right. And I had another short on the Qs right here We had a false break. This is on the 5-minute. We had a false breakout to the upside, reversal down. So it was a V2. Here's day 1, 2, and 3. Day 2 went above day 1. Day 3 closed below bar 1's, or bar 1's close. Also rejected the previous high. I shorted here at 319.13. I would have covered here, but I had an issue with my trading with my broker, and I was offline, which is not a good feeling, I'll tell you what, especially when you're seeing it go down, but you can't do anything about it. So anyway, I ended up covering when the platform came back at 318.85, and then I covered the other half at 318.75. I didn't like that we had washed out this low and closed back above, so I shorted at 319.31, covered at 318.85, and covered at 318.75. Okay. So that's it for me on my trades. Let's go over and take a look at everyone else's trades. Steve bought SPXL yesterday, which is the triple leverage SPY. So if this one goes your way, it really goes your way. And I'm glad to see that this went Steve's way yesterday. He bought it with the 530 EMA crossover. He bought it at $80.45 on the 530 EMA cross. It is 82.92. It's up 3.55% today. Excellent trade, Steve. Very, very nice. Beyond Meat. Not Beyond Meat, sorry. I always look at that and think it's Beyond Meat. Boyd Gaming. Tracy and Paxton bought Boyd Gaming all the way back here at 47.38 in the value zone. Moved up nicely, a little pullback. They took half of their profits here at about 55.80 with it over 70, under 70, and closed below the previous day's low. They kept the other half. It came down, but huge day today, up 6.85%. So far, Tracy and Paxton on this trade from entry to current price up 27.1%. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, NIO. Okay, couple things going on here. Gary sold puts. They expire tomorrow. He sold the $30 strike prices and he sold the $29 strike prices. It's at $45.45. So unless by tomorrow it goes down to $29 or $30, then Gary would be required to buy those. But I think it looks pretty good, although you never know. That these are going to close above 30 and 29, and Gary will be able to keep all the premium he got for selling these puts. So excellent, excellent, Gary. You're a great options trader. SSO, back to Steve. Steve bought the SSO, which is the double leverage SPY. He bought the 1030 EMA crossover. He bought it at 97.68 back here on the 9th. It is up 2.34% just today and up about 2.89% on the trade. So excellent work there, Steve. Glad to see that went up for you using the 1030 EMA crossover. Adobe Quad bought Adobe here at 439.23. It is up 3.65% today. So excellent trade there, Quad. I bought this yesterday. A few of us bought this a couple days ago. And this is, kind of a good example of why following your rules can be frustrating. I got out yesterday because my stop was below the 250. And today it just rocketed up without me, which, of course it's frustrating, but I have to take comfort in that I followed my rules. Do you see what I mean? Oh no, have I lost my feed? Ah. Oh, everybody. Let's just hope this comes back. I apologize. Oh, I think we got it. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, sometimes following your rules is a pain in the butt because it goes right back against you. It is back above the 250 again. If I were in it, I would keep it, but would I buy it again with the close over the 250? No, now it's too chasey. But, if you get out when you're supposed to and then it goes right back against you, those are the ones you're going to remember. It's going to kind of tempt you probably the next time, but there are plenty of times when getting out is the right move. I just, I did a lesson with Carlos this week and we were back in 2015, and I'll tell you what, you were glad if you sold here because the next day was down here. So keep that in mind. There's always pluses and minuses to following your rules, but in the long run, in my opinion, you're better off following your rules. And of course, sometimes it's going to work for you. Sometimes it's going to work against you. NVAX. All right. Frank bought NVAX all the way back here at 135. Had a huge move up, more than doubled. He sold 90% of his position up here, which is excellent. And I'm glad because look at the big move back down that it's had. It's up today, 3.79%. So Frank is nicely up on the trade and nicely up on the day. eBay. All right. Mamal and Timothy bought eBay with a nice close rejection of the 200-day moving average. Bought it at 53.30. It's currently 56.40. It's up 1.9% today, up 5.69% on the trade in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. What is that? Like a percent a day almost, right? Not too bad. Checkpoint Software. Kamal bought Checkpoint Software at 110.80. It's currently 115.58. It's up 1% on the day. And Kamal is up over 4% on the trade. So way to go, Kamal. Speaking of Kamal, I was kind of half joking yesterday, but not really. Kamal is like the master Shopify trader. Kamal bought Shopify at 10.86 yesterday. It's 11.50.96. It's up 5.8% just today. And as we mentioned earlier, has a nice V2, close back above the 100-day moving average, which is great. Home Depot. Gary sold credit spreads. He sold the 220, 215. So as long as it stays above 220 by April 16th, Gary will be able to keep all of the money that he made on the spreads. It's 269, almost 270. So he has about $50 in protection, which is always a nice feeling. BWA. All right. Frank bought BWA at 47.12, moved up strongly. He sold half up here around close to 50. Sideways down a little bit today off of its lows. So down a little on the day, but nicely up on the day. And then lastly, Steve Burns, another great trade on SCCO. Steve, Johan, and David did take this trade using the 520 EMA crossover yesterday. It was a good spot. I like when crossovers happens right here in the value zone. They bought it at 75.47. It's currently 78.32, up 4.23% today. So congratulations, Steve, Johan, and David. TTWO. Good to see you, Sonny. Yeah, I was looking at this one earlier. It's on my watch list. Under 30, over 30, under the 200, currently over the 200, currently under the negative third channel, over the negative third channel, up 3.81% today. Let's check the weekly. Weekly also bounced off the 50, so that's a good sign. So yes, this would give a good risk to reward ratio, Sonny. Is there a V1 on the weekly? Yes. Not a great one because the bar before it was so big, but yes, technically there is a V1, and also it rejected the 50 SMA and the 50 EMA. And more importantly, it gives you a good risk to reward ratio with the support of the 200 below it. Steve says QS. Looks like has a 520 crossover here. Has a slight 520 EMA crossover right here in the value zone. Has cleared the 50-day moving average, which is also nice. Let's see, the volume's 9 million shares, so there's plenty of volume. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Frank says QS has been on my watch list. Thanks for the alert, Steve. There you go. Yep. Oh, now I got it. Yeah, okay. 520 crossover right here in the value zone. Let's check out the weekly in the value zone. Not bad. Quantum Skate Corporation. David says, my daughter plays that game all the time. I bought some for her today. Oh, that Robo something blocks, the IPO. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Let me take a little gander over here. Should be interesting to see how the market closes today. That's for sure. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Okay. So we have the Dow up 220, NASDAQ up strong at 341, and the S&P up at 44. So Apple is well off of its highs. Merck went negative. SPY is up nicely, but off of its highs. Still, the NASDAQ's doing the strongest here, looks like, of all the indexes. And yeah, everyone's doing really well. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So listen, we're about halfway of the podcast. Before I start looking for potential end of day trades, keeping in mind 3 requirements, right? Confluence combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames, good risk to reward ratio based upon your valid support below you and valid and likely resistance above you. You need to have at least 2 to 1. You need to be able to make at least 2 times to the upside compared to what you're risking to the downside. And then number 3, again, let's always take a few minutes, a few moments at least, before you hit that buy button. Ask yourself, do I really need this trade? Is it really a legitimate trade? Is it really a clean trade? Do I know where all my exits are, or my entries going to be based upon what? Where my exits are, my emergency stops, my profit targets, all that kind of stuff. But before we do that, I just want to touch on trader psychology. There are some really great Facebook and Twitter channels out there that do a wonderful, fantastic job at providing good content each day, good trading words of wisdom for us to think about. And one of my very favorite, of course, is Trading Composure. And you can find him at Trading Composure on Twitter. And Trading Composure really gets into the details on trader psychology. I would say he's a specialist in it, in emotions and trading psychology. So if you have not subscribed to Trading Composure, please do on Twitter. Read his post, internalize them. I promise you, they're always good sayings and good advice. So discipline and patience. If you can't learn those by way of reasoning, pain will teach them to you. And I was teaching a student the other night, and we were talking about this exact concept. He had a drawdown in his account, and it looked to me like, maybe it wasn't managed correctly, and we talked about it. And I said, look, in the future, you are going to learn whether you listen to me. Instead of having to go through the school of hard knocks, you could just listen to me and my experience, and I will tell you, or you can just go ahead and learn it the hard way, right? And this is what this is saying. If you can't learn those by way of discipline and patience, if you cannot learn those by way of reasoning, pain will teach them to you. And you may get away with it for a long time. You may get away with not managing your trades correctly, not position sizing, not adhering to your stop losses. You can get away with it. but I promise you there will be a time where you cannot get away with it and it will eat your lunch. It's like people in Las Vegas who, I don't know, bet red on roulette. And they're like, well, it can't go 12 times in a row the same color. Oh, yeah, it can. It certainly can. And there's been plenty of people that have been wiped out. So, they pick red, they double their bet, they double their bet, they double their bet until they win. But eventually it will run into a streak that will take all of their money. And it's the same with trading. You can recover by not following your rules, but eventually you will have a trade that moves so dramatically against you that it will wipe you out or demoralize you or both. So discipline, we need discipline, follow our rules, and patience is extremely important. Kamal and I were discussing this earlier. Just like Warren Buffett says, wait for the perfect pitch to come across the plate before you strike. Take a swing at the pitch, or in this case, take a swing at the trade. There's no 3 strikes rule in baseball, so you can wait and just be patient until that perfect strike comes across the plate, and hopefully you can hit it out of the park. So thank you, Trading Composure. That was helpful for me, and I hope it was helpful for everyone else. Okay, so let me put this down as well. And Steve had one more for us also up at the top. Okay, we have Facebook, DT. So let me go ahead and put these on the list. Man, I'm glad my streaming came back. That would have been a bummer. All right. So this is what I'm looking at today. I'm looking at Amazon as a possibility. It has a close under the 200 and back over the 200, and a close close also, which I like. Gives me a good risk to reward there. If it closes just even a penny or 2 or 5 cents or 10 cents under the 200, I will get out. I can get out with a small loss. One thing I kind of don't like, you can see this is a low, this low is lower than here. I would much rather take a higher low close above the 200. This comes from a lower low close, meaning it had to travel a long way before it got there. I would rather, my preference would be that it closes back under the 200 and then has a new close above the 200 being a higher low close. But this is definitely, from a back tested quantified standpoint, this does give a good risk to reward with the close under the 200 and back over. MACD is not positive yet, but it's getting close. Looks like I don't know, did we reject the 50 RSI? Not that that matters on a close under and back over, but it's something to consider. 49.23, so it did run into resistance at the 50 RSI. But this is definitely a possibility. I like it, one, because it's Amazon, and 2, I like it because the 200-day is so close underneath, acting as support. And it went under it, tested it earlier today, and was able to pop back above it. Of course, if it closes below the 200, then I would not be able to take the trade. But I will definitely be watching this one at the end. TTWO. All right, we talked about that one. Sunny, I believe, brought that one up. The under 30, over 30, under the negative third ATR channel, over the negative third ATR channel, under the 200, over the 200 maybe. The 200 is 170.75. Yeah, it's over. 170.91. So, this would be a good risk to reward ratio. I don't know how TTWO backtests though. I don't know if a close under, close over the 200 is significant with this stock as far as backtest goes. But, if you throw the under 30, over 30, under the negative third, over the negative third on top of it, it's good. And of course, on the weekly, it's pretty good as well because it did reject the 50-week moving average and it did reject the 50 EMA on the weekly. Now, let's be fair and balanced here. On the other hand, we do have the one ATR channel above us as resistance, which is a little, it's a little concerning, but anyway, we'll watch this one at the end, but it definitely has to close above 170.75, and it is above there. Not a lot of volume. Have you noticed that, everyone? Not a lot of volume whatsoever going up here the last couple days. Well, at least today. Really low volume. That concerns me a little bit. Carlos is here. Hey, Greg and all. A bit late, but I'm here. Hey, buddy. What's happening? I was just kind of talking about something that we discussed the other day. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Home Depot. Home Depot does have a close under the 200 and over the 200. I did backtest this earlier, and it does backtest well. It doesn't mean it's going to, on this particular trade, if I take it, but it does backtest well under the 200, over the 200, and MACD is green, right? If we look over at TTWO, MACD is red. On Amazon, MACD is red. Home Depot, MACD is green. So just that fact alone makes me like this one a little bit better. On the other hand, we did reject the 50 SMA above us, which doesn't come into play with an under 200, over 200, but it's something that I definitely look at. V2 on the weekly, we're right at the 50 RSI on the weekly. So it's finding some resistance there, but I think the main takeaway here, it does have a good risk to reward ratio because it's just above the 200-day moving average. Facebook, Steve mentioned earlier about Facebook. We do have a 520 crossover, which does backtest well over the long term with Facebook. Volume on Facebook is stronger, which is good. You can see for a long time, Facebook had a real issue with getting above the 50 SMA. It did, then failed, but today it's really kind of broke out. MACD is positive here. It's a 57 RSI. On the weekly, we definitely have room to move. We're just smack dab in the middle of the value zone. Look at this, everybody. We have a 520 cross on the weekly as well. I like how it looks on the weekly. It's a more subdued kind of area, not as extended. On the daily, it's a little high, and that's the interesting thing. Depending on what time frame, something can be oversold on the daily chart and be overbought on the weekly chart. So you have to stick within the time frame that you're trading. This one is a little extended. However, I would be quite interested in buying this one possibly tomorrow for a weekly trade with the 520 crossover. QuantumScape. Okay, Steve talked about this earlier. 7.74 million shares traded. That's great. 520 crossover is, let's see, 53.10. Oh, 53.11, 52.91. So that is definitely valid with that crossover. It looks like MACD just crossed as well. Not a lot of volume. Weekly looks pretty good in the value zone. Kamal says TTWO and other 30 under over RSI have weak volume. They seem to have just risen with the market. Yes, I agree. I 100% agree, Kamal, and good analysis on there. DT is another one that Steve mentioned today with the 520 EMA crossover. Not a lot of volume here today on the weekly. It's a little high. I always take a look at the ATR channels on the weekly and kind of factor that into my decision. It's a second ATR channel here. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but it's a little chasey to me. I actually right at the moment, I like Amazon with the close under 200, over 200. I like that good risk to reward ratio. TTWO, You know, I'd probably just rather buy Amazon than TTWO. Home Depot, also pretty good over on the weekly. It's a little stretched there on the weekly. Let's look back at Amazon on the weekly. It's a little stretched too. Facebook, I think I like Facebook, but not today. I think I'm gonna see maybe if we get a little bit of a pullback and then get a 520 on a weekly. I don't have a weekly trade on at the moment, and this one looks good. I do like QuantumScape on the weekly being in the value zone. I like the crossover on the value zone. So let me go ahead and do a little math here. Is that Home Depot? Oh, I already did Home Depot. Okay. I think I'm going to pass on Facebook. QS. And then DT. All right. So I think what I like here the best is Amazon, Home Depot, potentially QS. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some other ones here. Taiwan Semiconductor. That looks a little chasey for me right there, under the negative third, over the negative third, but it seems chasey. EXEL. MACD went positive. We're over the 200. V1 last week. Thermo Fisher. I don't really see a new entry there today. IONS. DHR. Ooh, had a nice, good risk to reward bounce off rejection of the 200-day moving average yesterday, up nicely today, but I don't think I would chase this up here. Dexcom. I don't really see anything there. HRC has a 520 crossover. I don't know how that back test. A little. I don't like to chase these big bars because then you're relying on momentum to carry you up, and a lot of times you get one big bar up, two if you're lucky, then you get a lot of sideways motion most of the time. LMT is down today. That looks choppy. So Amazon makes sense with the close over the 200-day moving average. Little extended on the weekly, in my opinion. It's right at the 50. Home Depot, nice close above the 200, and MACD is positive. Weekly is right at the 50 as well and up against these moving averages. Tell you what, I kind of like QuantumScape here. We're in the value zone. On the weekly, we're in the value zone and triggering a V2. DT is a little more extended. QuantumScape's up 11% though, wow. MACD went positive. I have to say, I like QuantumScape the best. 520 crossover, MACD went positive, cleared the 50 SMA. in the value zone on the weekly, on the daily, on the weekly, we're in the value zone plus a V2. Yeah, I'm that is going to be my favorite QuantumScape. And thanks, Steve, for pointing that out, because all in all, that makes the most sense to me from a risk to reward standpoint. Looking at the multiple time frames, it makes the most sense to me. All right. Okay. Morgs is here. Good to see you, Morgs. Hope you are doing well, my friend. GNRC. $5.20 crossover, only 251,000 shares traded. Morgs, I couldn't tell you whether or not the 520 crossover is valid, however, on GNRC. Definitely does have one, for sure, but I don't know if it backtests positively. Mamal, hi all. Little late to the party, but happy to be here. Good to see you, Mamal. Nice to see, what do we have? We have eBay, right? eBay's up nice for Mamal and Timothy today. Fantastic. Gary says, Greg or Steve, I have approximately 90% of the spread premium already on Home Depot. Every time I try to close a position, they move the mid price by 5 cents. Do you know why the market maker would do this? I think it's the algorithms with the playing games with the bid and the ask. You know what I have found? If I take the mid price and add 5 cents to it, I generally get filled pretty quick. But I think it'd be a good idea. You have 90% of the premium, right? And I'm glad you're, in there trying to get the best price. But in my experience, taking the mid price plus 5 cents gets me out pretty quick. Steve is long DT. Okay. Steve is also long GNRC with the 520 crossover. New trader says, Gary, they want you to do a market order to give them more profit. Yes, exactly. That's right. They know you want it, and so they want you to hit the market so they make a little bit more on the spreads. Thank you, Steve. All right, so Steve's long DT. The Dynatrace with the 520 and GNRC. That one's not as extended. All right, sounds good. Kamal says, Gary, it might be better to just take the short leg off and keep the other one. There's an idea. So Amazon is still holding above the 200, but I'm going to pass on this because it comes from a lower low. So I'm going to pass on that one. QuantumScape is the one I'm going to go with today. If in fact the 520 still crosses, it's 53.18 compared to 52.93. It looks like it by the end of the day it will have more volume, so that's good. Possibly a little bit more volume than yesterday, which I like to see. Okay, so we have about 9 minutes. Merck, Still holding here, looking for a close below the previous day's low. SPY, we'll be buying this at the close, holding it overnight, and that's basically it. I am pretty light on positions here, but I will be adding, as long as the crossover stays in place, QS. And what I like about this is the weekly. I like the weekly right here in the value zone. And see the V2 on the weekly? Day 1, 2, 3. Day 2 washes out day 1, day 3. So, I mean, you could take this on the weekly and it would be a legitimate trade as well. Made a lower high, but it washed out the previous low. So that, in addition to the 520 on the daily, is why I like it. Wow. I heard the first, I think the yard care guys are out there. Sorry about that. Dang it. That's my that's my neighbor. Um Match groups, okay. Yeah. Higher low V2 over the 50 RSI. Looks pretty good, Kamal. Close below the -1 ATR channel in the value zone. We have a V2. There's a bit of a gap here. That's about the only thing I don't like about this. Gap is larger than a quarter ATR. Let's look over at the weekly. In the value zone. Could be worse places than that for sure. But the gap's what concerns me there, Kamal. That's the only thing. Sorry about the leaf blower out there. It's weird. That's the first time I've heard that since fall. Does that mean spring's coming? I guess so. Apple is, I don't know. It's up $1.97, which is better than nothing, but all right, we have 5 minutes to go. Yes, David, I did look at QS. That's the one I'm buying today because of the 520 crossover, the close back above the 50. I like the area that it's in here in the value zone. And then I also like on the weekly, the V2 happening in the value zone on the weekly. So that's what I'm talking about, confluences of signals. There's a V2 on the weekly, there's a lower high that gets washed out, followed by a V2 up above the 5 EMA on the weekly, and then we have a 520 crossover on the daily, as well as other things, and the MACD crossover. So that is why I like it. Twitter's a higher low V2, but again, there's a big gap. I don't like the big gap, Kamal. All right. Looks like we have a little selling coming in here at the end. So we have 3 minutes to go. I'm going to wait till the very end there before I buy my QS. Okay. Oh, SQ. Okay, let's take a look. It looks okay. I don't see a crossover or anything. I've got to move those yard guys around. I'm sorry. Give me 30 seconds. Okie dokie. We have about 20 seconds to go. Three, two, one. That is it. Okay, so let me take a look and see where I bought. Nice positive day today. I am grateful for that. Let's take a look here. So I bought QS with the 520 crossover at 393.53. Oh no, sorry, that was SPY. And QS at 58.41. So overnight SPY. $393.53. And then I bought QS at 58.41, so not a good fill there. Right, with the 520 crossover. So that's all I have. I have Merck, I have overnight SPY trade, and I have QS. So listen, if any of my students have any new entries or exits for me today, please type them in the chat and I will get them all updated. Real quick before I do, just want to remind everybody that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I teach a really good course. It's 15 hours total of one-on-one instruction. I teach you all 5 of my trading approaches step by step, so you know exactly what to do, when to get in, when to get out, how to position size, all that stuff. So I know if you take the course, you're going to be a better trader when you finished. It is $1,750, but I believe it really is worth the money. And I know you're going to be a better trader when you have completed the course. So if you are interested, all you have to do is reach out to me. You can send me a message, an email message. My email is in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, let's do a Skype call. Let's learn a little bit about each other. It's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course, and it's a good time for me to ask you questions about you and your trading and your experience. All right. And then when you're done, you can think about it. And then in the future, if you decide you want to book the course and schedule it, just email me back and we'll get it taken care of. I'm actually having a Skype call tonight with a gentleman in an hour, as a matter of fact, with a gentleman in Ireland. So that will be interesting. And then secondly, you know, if your finances are not don't allow you to take the one-on-one course, I think I have a good secondary option for you. I have recently posted and put up a new online course on Udemy for the deep dip buy stock trading strategy. It's 9.5 hours of instructions, 26 videos. I take you step by step and teach you how to trade the deep dip buy strategy. It's like $12, $13, $14 on Udemy. It's the best $12 or $13 or $14 I think you'll spend to learn a really good trading approach. And the link to the Udemy course is in the description of the video. And then lastly, if you don't mind, if you like today's podcast, if you're finding this podcast helpful in your trading, and if you're learning some things, if you could please hit the thumbs up button before we get out of here, I would really, really appreciate that immensely. So, okay, enough with my business, and let's take a look and see. We'll go up to Steve first. Steve bought DT. And Steve bought DT at $54.09. With the 520 EMA crossover. Okay. GNRC. GNRC at 331.64. 331.64. And Steve bought that with the 520 EMA crossover. And then when was there one more? Let's see. DT, GNRC. Lova says, I've really started paying close attention to my position sizing, but now it seems like that I've started buying too many positions. Yeah, that's the other side of it, you know? I mean, that's why I have a rule, Lova, that regardless of how many positions I have, I don't put more than 60% of my capital ever at risk. So, you know, if you're position sizing using the 2 ATR, it's not going to be like a straight 10% of your position size. It will depend on the volatility, but still you should be able to know how many positions I have, what's the total amount, what percent of that of my total capital is at. And I just have a rule. Obviously not everyone uses this. I learned this from Steve. I think it's really good that 60% is my max. Kamal says no trades. Okay. Sorry about the weed whacker or whatever that thing is. Johnson is in QS. half a position. Okay. I will look to add if it moves closer to the 50 SMA intraday. I think that's a good idea. That is kind of that's kind of how I would look at it as well. And it very well may do that, you know. It very well may come back there, and then Johnson can get in there, add his second half, and reduce his position size. Lovis says, thank you. I have now noted the 60% rule. Yep, I learned that from Steve. I think it is excellent rule. Just don't like the idea of being 100% at risk. You never know, right? You never really know. And if you're 60%, if you're at 60% and it goes up, you're still happy. If you're at 100% and everything crashes to zero, then you're really in trouble, right? So let's manage risk first. Kamal says, Gary, did you buy SHOP? All right, let's see what's happening after hours here. Apple's about break even. Qs are up 43 cents. Wow. QS is down 20, but there's a big spread. SPY's up 8 cents. VIX, we haven't looked at VIX recently. Yeah, interesting. Double bottom with a bullish divergence on VIX. Here's a low with deep red MACD bars. We rally into some green. We come back down. We are now lower than this low, but you see how shallow the red bars are? That means that from a MACD perspective, this move down was very strong. This second move down, although it looks strong, not that strong. So right now we have a double bottom with a bullish divergence. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean you go ahead and buy. No, you still need a signal. What could be a signal for me? If we have a V2 tomorrow, that would be a signal. Be a false breakout to the downside from the low plus a V2, and ideally back in the value zone, all under the scope of us having a double bottom with the bullish divergence. And, you know, if you see this going up tomorrow, that won't be good for the market. I don't know if it's going to, but I'm just saying the setup is starting to show itself here. Tomorrow, if we had a V2, I would probably buy VIX because of the double bottom bullish divergence, but I still need that trigger first. Gary says, Kamal, I didn't pull the trigger on SHOP yet. Lovis says, I broke a rule today. Uh-oh. I had a lot of positions that had great moves up. I then moved some of my emergency stops closer than 2 ATRs below the price. Any thoughts? Well, I don't move my 2 ATR emergency stop up. Once it's set, it's set. And then I go off of the end of day stop. So, I mean, some people move their 2 ATRs up. I mean, if the price goes up $1, then they just move the 2 ATR up $1. But let's see, I move some of my emergency stops to closer than 2 ATRs. Well, you know, there's pluses and minuses to doing it. But I guess what I would say, Lovett, is I wouldn't move your emergency stop less than 1 ATR, because 1 ATR is just noise. It's expected to move that way. You know, you want to put your emergency stop outside of noise. You want to put it, that's why you're putting it 2 standard deviations away, because it shouldn't go down there. But listen, you know, everybody, you know, all my students, every single one of them, you know, takes what I teach them and they kind of adjust it to themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I would say, my best advice is, you know, be consistent with what you do. If one day you do this and then the other day you do that, I think it works against you. So I moved my emergency stops to closer than 2 ATRs below the price. again, I keep my 2 ATR emergency stop constant, and I use my end of day stop to look to get out with it having to go all the way back down. But whatever you use, just be consistent. But if you move if you're moving up your emergency stops, I mean, it's okay. Just be consistent. I don't know if that helped, Leva, because I don't see exactly what you're talking about, so I'm just trying to picture it in my head a little bit. All right. So listen, let me just remind you, if we all just do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. This is from Martin Kornfeld. So let's go out and do this. Let's just do one nice thing for a human each day. Let's do one nice thing for an animal each day. It will make the human feel better. It will make the animal feel better. And I would hope, and I think it will make you feel better as well. And just imagine if everybody did that, the world would be a better place. So I always like to leave everybody off with this saying. I think it's important, and let it start with you. Just one nice thing for a human, one nice thing for an animal. Leva says, my journal is showing me that I am more inconsistent than I thought I was. I bet. And congratulations for keeping a journal, Leva. That's just fantastic. I'm really glad. I mean, journaling in trading, or journaling in life, or anything else is good, because you can go back and, you're kind of charting yourself, right? You can go back and you can see patterns. But that's interesting that I'm more inconsistent than I thought I was. Very good. Well, that's kind of a breakthrough there for you, and shows you the benefits of journaling. So it looks like everybody had a good day. Congratulations. Proud of everybody. Will this rally continue? I really don't know. We shall see. If we look at the cues, we've come way off of the lows for sure. We have rallied, but we are in a bit of a precarious zone here. We have not rejected the 50-day moving average, but it's very close. We got stuck right at about 50 RSI. So that that invisible 50 RSI and that invisible, or not invisible, but the 50-day, we have we're getting close to a confluence there. That's on the cues. Let's look at the SPY. SPY's much stronger. Did we break out today to a new high? No, we didn't. False breakout to the upside and reversal back down. Not the end of the world, but we were well off of our highs as well. But we did reject this high over here and close back under. So essentially, the market couldn't find any more buyers above this high. And we had the news with the stimulus. I don't know, do we have good news coming after this? Is it all baked in the cake? It's hard to know. That's why it's best just to follow price action. Now the Dow did break out to a new high. It got as high as 6788 RSI. So, we're kind of getting up to those levels where statistically you're more likely to at least move sideways or go down than you are continue to go up. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to grab a little food before my Skype call, rest my voice for a second. So I appreciate everybody coming today. I really do. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Again, go out, do something nice for somebody, for one human, one animal. And it's going to make you feel better. Be good, be safe. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. I would certainly appreciate that. And we'll see you tomorrow during the last hour of the market. Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.